Okay. So we are meeting to talk about how the strategy went when you implemented it. Talking with Miss Laura Richards, first grade teacher.
Yes.
And the tool that you chose was Toontastic, and you taught a lesson
Yes.
and implemented it. And so tell me how it went.
Well, what we did is I had them tell a story to Toontastic. So here's how I went about it. I made a demo, like a model video that I had done on my own. And so I tried to show it on the smartboard.
Right.
We're trying to connect it with the connector. And it came up on the smartboard, but I couldn't get it to be interactive for me.
Right. So you were
So
trying
it would show it, but when I tried to use the iPad, it would not
Oh, weird. Okay.
play it through the smartboard. So that's something we'll have to work on to figure out.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we
but
can problem solve that.
yeah, but so then what we did is we just gathered around my iPad and I showed them my demo story that I made, and I tried to really point out how there was a beginning, like an intro, a middle, like what the problem was, and then an end, how this, just how the story ended or a problem got solved. And so, of course, they all laughed and thought it was fun. And then I showed them through the whole program, all their choices of settings and how they could pick their characters and things like that.
Right.
Gave them a couple of limitations, like just pick 2 characters for this first time so that it didn't like go crazy wild.
Yeah.
And to stay in the same setting, of course, because it was one story. We weren't moving places.
Right.
So those were my little parameters I put on them. So that being said, I had them work in pairs.
Okay.
So they went off and to a quiet place and kind of made up a story on their own. And it was all just verbal. We didn't do any writing or anything else because I kind of wanted to see if that would help my kids who are having trouble with they can tell a story verbally, but have a hard time writing it. So I was hoping it would help them do that. So for the most part, they did a really good job working in pairs. Once they got their story down and they picked their setting and they picked their characters, then they went to a quiet place, either in the hallway or somewhere else in the room, and they actually did the Toontastic
Nice.
and taped it or whatever, videoed it,
Yeah.
whatever it is called. So that's how that all went.
Nice.
So-
Okay, so were you able to gather data about like if it helped improve the writing process or keep anyone on track or engaged?
I think for the most part, most of the kids, I have 20 kids in class, most of them were totally engaged the whole time. I tried to pair them up, I strategically paired them up in a certain way so that they would hopefully work well together or help each other stay on track. So out of the 20 kids, I would say 15 of them did a really good job. There were a couple pairs of 3. And but I would say, 5 to 6 had a really hard time because they were just totally distracted by the new device.
Yeah. Like
And-
rabbit holing or just
Oh, yeah, or
Yes,
just
yeah.
going through the settings, couldn't even make a decision about a setting, so it was, very time consuming. And then couldn't make a decision about characters and didn't want to follow those parameters of just one setting and 2 characters, sort of a thing. So
Right.
it was really just the getting started and past the whole technology part of it, of kind of playing with
right.
their options. So that was distracting to that little small group. But it was a small group of kids, and they were the kids that I kind of would have, expected that from. So
Okay. What about the quality of the storytelling? Like was it
well, you know what? For our first time, I thought it was actually pretty good. Most of it, honestly, they had a very good, complete story, beginning, middle, and end. So, and I do like that about Toontastic because it's literally beginning, middle, end.
Yeah.
When you just pick those 3 areas instead of going into the bigger choice. And so I think that really, really helped them. Plus, we've been working on it a lot, this year. So I do think that helped, and they really did a really good job with that. Those ones who were successful.
Yeah.
So I was really happy with that.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's student progress. And what about the implementation of the strategy? Like what kind of, like what went well, what didn't go well, and
Well,
would be-
I would like, obviously, I think if it were on the smart board, that would have really, really helped, just because it would have been a bigger visual for them to see. The other part of that would be, I think you have to work from your iPad, and so that makes it kind of hard in the modeling and demo area.
Yeah, I've noticed that in my class too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that that makes the implementation kind of more difficult. I think that what I would try to do is, I think like those 5 or 6 kids who had a hard time maybe just needed more support, whether it was me working with them more directly with a small group, or having some sort of an outline for them to fill out beforehand.
Yeah.
They just, for them to just, I thought it would be easy for them to tell a story because they're telling me stories all the time. But between the technology and then the telling of the story, I think it was just maybe
Too many
a
choices.
little bit too much for them.
Right.
So if I would give them, like we use an organizer when we write, but maybe it's something a little bit simpler, just a beginning, middle, and end, that they could even just jot down ideas, not necessarily sentences, but just ideas that might help keep them on track a
Just to
little
have
bit
like
more.
a visual. Or what if you had like, this may maybe going out there on a limb, like what if you had a box and they had to like reach into the box and like pull out a slip, and it like gave them like, here's your setting, here are your 2 characters, here's the conflict, go.
Well, yeah, see, that might be a good idea too.
And then it's kind of like,
Right.
you don't know what you're getting.
Right. That might be fun even for everybody to do that. It would definitely challenge their thinking a little bit more. So those higher kids, I
Right.
think that would
Be
be
creative
even
too.
fun for them. Yeah.
And then they could have,
Yeah.
but you really could scaffold it any way you wanted it to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you could. You could. And you can always ask for more. You know what I mean? Or you could tell those higher kids there has to be a problem, not just a happy, happy story. But what could that problem be?
Yeah.
On the pirate ship, what could happen?
We ran out of citrus.
Right. There you go. Help. Yeah. So, yeah, but I do think just with my group of kids, it definitely needed to be scaffolded for them in probably 3 or 4 different ways,
So do you think those kids that got distracted, if they had like a visual prompt, that it would have helped them follow through and get it done? Yeah.
Or like you just said, pull something out of a hat or a bag, and then that doesn't waste all that time trying to make that decision about a setting and the characters
Right?
for them. Maybe a little less fun, but it might keep them on track until the next time. So, yeah, I think definitely.
I like that.
I would definitely do it again. I mean, it was fun. I think the kids loved it, and I think it really did cover all the elements of telling a story.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so just ironing out the scaffolding.
Right.
There's so many ways. So you maybe just pick a few and then
Right.
Yeah.
And then just try them.
And then I can get with Denise and see if we can figure out a way to.
Yeah, like it displayed, but I
Make the
just couldn't
board
make
work.
it interactive. Right.
Yeah.
And I do think that would be helpful. And then you could show their work, too. We did at the end, I forgot to say that. At the end, when we were all done, we did share. So we took a time of, getting with another partner group or whatever, and we shared our stories.
That's
and they
awesome.
shared back and forth, and that was really fun. I would love to do that on the smart board, where you could share their creations and their stories.
Yeah.
On the smart board, I think that would be fun.
I wonder if I could unplug my Apple TV and then bring it to you, and if it would work on yours. I'll have to check into that and see.
Yeah, but yeah, I would think that there would be a way, because it was displaying. So I would think that I was just missing something.
Okay.
Don't
Or
ask
problem
me
solved.
what. Yeah.
We'll figure
Don't
it
ask
out.
me what. So.
Okay. Well, I think that's it. Like, I think you got a
Okay.
game plan. I'm
Yeah.
excited to hear how it goes the next time you try it.
Yeah. And another thing I thought I could do is then after we're all done, we could always go back and then write that story because it's already told verbally. Not that it had to be, verbatim like a dictation, but they could go back and write that story too and illustrate it in their own way if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like it.
Fun.
Or
All
the
right.
script. They could write the script.
Oh, perfect for each character. Yeah.
Too.
That's a great idea. Or they could do that beforehand, knowing what their settings and stuff are. That's another
Yes.
scaffolding idea is
I like
write a
that.
script for a play.
That's really cool.
Since we just went to a play,
Perfect.
now they would know what that
Oh my
would
goodness.
be. Oh my gosh, so many ideas. That would be fun. I'm going to write that one down. Write
That
a
would be really
play.
cool.
Yeah.
Don't you guys do a play in the spring anyway?
We do a
First grade?
poetry recital.
Poetry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Second grade used to do a play, so.
Well, that
yeah.
all sounds
All
great to
right.
me.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.